This is the story of how I moved across the country for a boy. But in September, I didn't know just how soon that would be yet. After 4 visits with my boyfriend back and forth within the span of a few months, I was back in my home base of Toronto, celebrating beloved friends' birthdays and hosting a The Summer I Turned Pretty themed night with my roommate to react to the season finale. Looking back though, I can say I felt at ease with my friends, but also antsy to be somewhere else than Toronto. Like I was still living in my old life, despite the feeling that I didn't fit correctly anymore. My identity was shifting, but my circumstances weren't changing with it. I was days before my next trip to see my boyfriend when I was suddenly hit with crippling anxiety while trying to wean off of my antidepressants. I was also dealing with the stress of hunting for a new job, and this led me to seek comfort in my hometown and family in Ottawa. Of course, this meant I had to cancel my trip, which was heartbreaking for both of us. But prioritizing my health, I started therapy again, back on my medications, and learned tools to deal with it all. Doing a lot better and finally back in Calgary for a month with my boyfriend. We spent quality time in nature, decorated for the holidays, and I met more of his family. I grew really comfortable there, spending an extended period of time this time, and felt kind of uneasy returning to Toronto. The time apart was getting to be hard for the both of us. Back in Toronto, the holidays were in full swing on Queen Street with glass ornaments lining every window shop. If you know me, you know I write myself a letter every year on my birthday, and so it was quite the synchronicity that an artist had displayed all of her birthday letters in an open gallery nearby, mere days after my 25th birthday. Following that, though, I had the worst flu and was mostly in bed watching movies. In Ottawa for the holidays for a short time, we made Christmas cookies, and I got my brother adult Heelys for Secret Santa. You gotta be walking nonchalant, then you go, whoa!
Wow. Shit's scary.
In Toronto for the last time, although I didn't know that yet, I resolved that this time I would feel differently. I made efforts to enjoy Toronto as much as possible, knowing I had now gotten my new remote job, and so the move was planned for May. I wanted to remember why I loved Toronto so much and spend all the time I could with friends before I left.
The mall today. This is the fit. I'm wearing earmuffs because it's honestly too cold to be wearing nothing on your head, but I don't like that hats and hoods always mess up your hair, so this is my solution.
But this chapter didn't have a clean ending, as most things in life don't, and my anxiety quickly returned. I wasn't eating or sleeping and felt uneasy all the time, as if my body was signaling stronger now that this wasn't home for me anymore, and that I was forcing myself into an expired identity. And so I made the decision to vacate my apartment in Toronto with the blessing of my roommate and a 60-day notice to my landlord. My parents were angels to move me out on short notice. And with my boyfriend's excitement and invitation, 2 weeks later, I was on a flight to Calgary with 2 suitcases to my name. Traveling all the time between 3 cities had made it so that no matter where I was, life was temporary. And after finding my new job, it began to feel to us that we were holding off the move for nothing. So a few months earlier than planned for the move, but at that point, I was supposed to be visiting again anyways, except we just decided to make it more permanent. Thankfully, I have a great relationship with his family, and they're more than welcoming to have me stay. The full day of travel was a struggle and a half, since the spontaneity of my relocation meant my flights weren't connecting, and I had to spend hours at the airport in between both my flights. But I made it, and my boyfriend sweetly had my favorite Chinese beef and broccoli waiting. Immediately, it felt like I was back where I belonged, and I've been comfortable here for the last month, although it feels like longer in a good way. My brother also came to visit on a work trip, and we visited the aviation museum since he's obsessed with planes.
Me at a plane museum immediately after saying I never want to see another plane again. My worst nightmare, being back on a flight. So, surprise! I did indeed move across the country. I live in Calgary now, and as we are finding a more permanent place. Right now we're staying at his parents. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go to dinner, so I thought I would get ready with you. I've been thinking about this move for months now because just doing a lot of the back and forth between Toronto, Ottawa, and Calgary has been a lot, and so finally we kind of spontaneously just bit the bullet and we're like, let's just do it now. It's exciting. and scary in a way to start new in another city. I mean, I've done it before. I did move from Ottawa to Toronto for university and for my career. And then, yeah, over the past few months, deciding that I wanted to move out here and kind of start a life more long-term permanently out here. It was kind of crazy, like finding a new job that would allow me to live in the Calgary area, because I always just considered I would live in Toronto my whole life. Honestly, I'm quite excited with what the future could look like here, and to like furnish a place and find a place and things like that. And I'm just starting to unpack, get used to like routines and stuff here, and then down the line I'll be getting all my documents done, like my Calgary license and health card and all that stuff, all the adulting things that I hate to do but like have to do kind of thing. But the nice thing is cost of living here is less, taxes are less, and so overall like my take home paycheck will be better. And then also like I think after living in the city for so many years, I now am kind of like over it in a way. Like I'm really looking forward to living a little bit more of a slow pace of life. But yeah, my life is definitely gonna look a little bit different, I think, here on out, which is exciting. For those of you who don't like know me personally, I did actually grow up in Ottawa in like the countryside. So like this is not unfamiliar territory for me. It's kind of just like a return to status quo in a way. I broke my nail. Focus on opening this. Got this new tier makeup cushion foundation thing, and I'm not really one to wear cushion foundation, so I'm really intrigued to try it. Shall we test it together? It looks like this. I heard it's really popular. Pretty light coverage, but thankfully I'm someone who doesn't really need a lot of coverage. I enjoy this. Yeah, this probably comes as a shock to most people that I now live in Calgary. I'm very excited to see where things bring me, and I hope you were excited to follow me along the journey too. I think I generally just like needed a change in pace of life. I feel like I was kind of moving out of my young adult, like post-grad life, and now moving into my more adulthood life. And so in my mid-20s, I think it'll be really interesting to build a life out here. I also really just missed the calm of living away from the city, I think. Like, it makes sense a lot in your like early 20s to live smack down in the middle of downtown Toronto, but I think as I spent more time in my hometown and more time out here, I realized how much I just wanted my brain to be smooth. Like, it was so nice on the brain just to have less stimulation all the time and to be surrounded by like open air and fields and blue sky and not just like in a concrete jungle. And so I never really understood my parents before wanting like the quiet and all that, but now as I'm getting older, I'm understanding. One thing about Calgary though, and just Alberta in general, is it's so much drier out here, and so you really have to make sure you moisturize, which I'm not really used to doing. Like, it feels swampy in the air almost going back to Ontario. I've been noticing it's a lot more dry scalp, a lot more need to moisturize. My hair is just naturally more straight here. I think it's just like the difference in humidity. It's also really strange. We get this thing called a Chinook, where essentially all of the air from the Pacific Ocean, the warm air comes up to the mountains and gets kind of heated up and trapped, and then it blows down onto the city, where generally it just melts all of the snow and ice and it makes it really warm. So the last week or so that I've been here, it's actually been like up to 15 degrees in the middle of January. That's been a really nice break from the cold weather. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wear a skirt so I get to get a little break from winter wardrobe, which is nice. And I'm happy I packed a little bit of warmer clothes, knowing that the weather pattern here is different, or else I'd be stuck just with like sweaters. And makeup and hair is done. I still need to brush out the curls, but I've been doing this little like brown eyeshadow wing lately, which I've been enjoying. This is the outfit I'm gonna try to recreate kind of, but I only own a black polka dot skirt, and so I'm thinking between wearing a white shirt or a black shirt with it. Roughly, that's kind of the outfit we're trying to recreate. Welcome to my little closet setup. I've got the white shirt, brown jacket thrifted, skirt is also thrifted. I think I did pretty good at recreating it. I just need to put on my brown boots. I think the white is nice.
Our little date night included an unlimited bread station and a nice gluten-free pizza for me. Lunar New Year also quickly approached too, and I found it so thoughtful that he looked for festivals in our area to be part of the celebration with me, and that he wanted to enable me to celebrate while away from home, where I'd typically be celebrating with my family. I'm not usually someone who publicly is so gushy, but it did mean a lot to me. As I come to the end of this video, but the beginning of this move, I'm very aware building a life takes time, despite my impatient nature, and there are doubtlessly challenges ahead that come with it, but I'm excited for what the future holds, and I wish you an abundant year of the horse ahead.